So in this video, we're going to talk about what is an appointment setter versus what is a closer, specifically for remote high ticket sales. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of the two roles. I'm going to talk about really what type of person or what you would want to do depending on what kind of, lifestyle you would enjoy when it comes to those specific opportunities if you're someone who's looking to get into remote sales for the first time. Starting off with the closer role. Now, a closer is someone who makes the final sale, someone who has a discovery call, which is typically anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour long conversation with a prospect that's looking to buy a product or service. And they have that conversation going through an entire call of what their problem is, what their goals are, what's kind of stopping them, how do we bridge that gap, and seeing if the product or service that they're selling is a great fit for that person and if they should advance to the stage of actually making the purchase and working with the company. So the closer is the one who, the name is self-explanatory, closes up that deal. Typically, the conversations that they're having are with prospects that are vetted in various ways. Usually the process is they come in through some form of marketing, whether it's content on YouTube like this or advertising that's paid for, Google, Facebook ads, whatever, YouTube ads, whatever. And as a lead, they either watch a video, look at marketing materials, read stuff, talk to appointment setters, which we'll talk about after. And once they are qualified or made aware of what the product or service is and what they do and how they can help, want to then go on to actually speak to a person that can help personalize and tailor and make sure that this is a specific fit for how, if it's B2B, their business operates, or how, if it's B2C, that person's life operates, and the help that they really, really need from an advisor who understands the product or service and how it would fit into different people's lives. Think of a closer as like the doctor. You go into a doctor's office, they say, hey, what's the problem? They diagnose, they ask you a bunch of questions to get a better understanding of the problem. They understand the problem deeper than maybe even you understand what's really going on under the covers. And then they prescribe a solution. They prescribe a medication or a remedy or something. Whereas the closer would prescribe the best next steps, be it to work with them or not to. The best next steps could be to buy, could be not to buy, could be to do whatever. So that's the closer's job. They have those conversations. They determine if someone's a good fit, and then they close the deal. They make the offer, and then they pass that person on to the onboarding team, which is usually like a CSM, like some kind of coach or account manager who would actually manage the relationship after the sale. Your job is to not only take those inbound calls that are typically put on your calendar. There are other types of closing roles where you dial leads and then you sell directly on that call. But typically what you'll see is the appointment is booked onto your calendar. You show up to that call, you have that conversation, you either close or you don't. Then you manage your pipeline, which is usually a CRM, which stands for Customer Relationship Manager, a software platform where all of your leads are uploaded and you're going through them and you're managing them. And when I say managing them, I mean, okay, different people are at different parts of the process. Some people, you have a conversation, they're a good fit, they've got the money, you close, they buy, you pass them on to the team, done. Some people, you end up following up with them. Maybe now's not the right time. Maybe you discovered that this wasn't a good fit. Maybe they're going to buy in a month from now, 2 months from now. Maybe they're saving up money to do it. Maybe they want to look at testimonials, reviews. There's so many reasons as to why people are in your pipeline that aren't closed yet. Maybe you have to nurture them some more. Maybe whatever it is. So you're managing a bunch of relationships that are stored in this CRM, this software platform that allows you to see what stage your prospects are, whether you've had a conversation with them, you've made them an offer, you haven't made them an offer yet, they're on the fence, they're thinking about whatever it is, you'll manage that relationship. And your job is to close as many good, qualified, good fit prospects as possible. When I say good fit, people that can afford it, people that are going to actually utilize the services, they're going to get great results with the services, they're going to leave testimonials, do reviews, all of those things. And that's how, like, if you're onboarding those types of people, if you're closing those types of people, that will keep the business on the back end healthy. You don't just want to close whoever, whatever that can somehow come up with the money, because obviously it's going to make the actual management team have a bit more of a headache, right? So your job is to close the calls that come, manage the relationship after they come into your kind of ecosystem. And then sometimes your role is also to do some outbound calls to qualified leads that are in the system. Again, every company has their own kind of process for how they do things. Sometimes the closer just calls, sells right off the bat, schedules follow-up calls if they didn't sell. Sometimes the closer to fill up their own calendar more if they, let's say they're getting 3 to 5 calls or 6 calls a day. If they want 7, if they want 8, they can go into the CRM, find leads that they haven't spoken to, dial them, and set more appointments for themselves if they choose to do so, if they want to be proactive and be a little bit more in control of their commissions and how many people they're speaking to. And typically you're getting paid commission based on how many sales you've closed, based on how many conversations actually bought and onboarded into the process. But yeah, that's typically what a closer does. That's typically what the role is. Obviously, at the end of the day as well, your job is to keep reporting on your metrics, keep up to date on your productivity, what you've done for that day, how many conversations you've had, how many of those conversations closed, how many did you offer. All of those things, you're keeping track of the metrics and you're putting them in an end of day report. Typically, you'll spend some time at the end of the day filling out the report and sending it into a group chat or a channel where sales manager or business owner can see it so they can help you produce better and better results. But that's typically the closer role. You're responsible, and you can see everyone's role is they're responsible for the relationship until they're either a yes or a no. Yes meaning they're passed on to the next part of the process. A no meaning that they're not a good fit, we shouldn't work with them, and they go and you tell them, hey, this is the best direction you can go to get help. It's just not with us, right? So when appointment setter or marketing or wherever it comes from, lead comes into your ecosystem, you're responsible for the entire relationship until you pass them on to the delivery team, who's then responsible for the relationship. As an appointment setter now, you're in front of the closer, meaning you're that first point of human contact usually at any given company. Again, different ways that they can get into your ecosystem can be if the company puts together a cold lead list, maybe they use like some kind of information gathering software, Apollo or Gorilla Leads or whatever, where it just generates leads of a certain type of person. If it's B2B, you're looking to speak with executives for tech companies at whatever. You have your profile, your persona that you're going after, and then you're supposed to call those leads, see who could use your help, qualify them, and then pass them on to the closer if it makes sense, if they're a good fit. Other type is more of outbound calls to generated leads from some sort of interest. You'll see that usually more often with established companies, good marketing, spending money on advertising. They're running Facebook ads saying, hey, this is what we help with, this is what we do. People are clicking those ads, giving their phone number, giving their email, giving their contact information, and those leads come in to whatever it is you're using to manage your leads, your CRM. And as an appointment setter, your job is to pick up the phone, call those leads and say, hey, I saw you opted in. I saw you gave us your information. How can we help? Whatever. You have that conversation. And if they're a good fit, you're like, oh, okay, your situation, the problem you have, the goals you have, the roadmap to solving that problem, it all aligns with the problems we solve, and what we're able to do for people, where we're able to get them, and how we're able to get them there. It all aligns. You're a good fit. You can afford our prices and everything. Okay, I think it makes sense for you to speak to the next person, which is the closer. So then you pass them off to the closer, and then that's when the closer picks up the role. Now, appointment setters are usually paid when that deal closes by the closer, or sometimes they can also get paid for a qualified show. So qualified show meaning you set the appointment, the prospect showed up to the appointment, because sometimes you can set an appointment if you didn't do a good enough job or for whatever, something happened. The lead could no show on the closer when it's booked in their calendar. They just don't show up. So sometimes you'll get paid when you set the appointment. They do show up. And when the closer talks to them, they say, okay, this was a qualified good fit. So that's kind of the way you usually get paid as an appointment setter. Now, when it comes to which role you would want to do, you can make good money doing either of these roles. Typically, you'll get paid more as a closer, but I have seen in lots of cases setters get paid more than closers, right? But again, on average, if you're looking at all the roles, usually closers make more than setters. So if you're looking to make as much money as possible in remote high ticket sales, the closer role is the one that you're going to want to go after. In terms of lifestyle, closer roles, because it's more appointments booked directly in your calendar, it's more strict in terms of, hey, these are the hours that you're going to want to work. These are the hours you're going to have to work. You can choose, okay, maybe, shave off some time in the morning, shave off some time in the evening. I want to work earlier and end earlier. I want to work later and start later. You can kind of choose your schedule in that sense. But what it comes down to ultimately is when the type of prospects you speak to, when are they available? If you're doing B2B, typically your prospects are available more during the day. If you're doing B2C, typically your prospects are available more during like lunchtime or afternoon, evening, right? So although you can, in most cases, set your own type of schedules, the business owner, the sales manager, whatever, they're going to want to see that your time zone is matching the time zone of the prospects you speak to, and your availability is matching the availability of the prospects you speak to, right? Like if you want to work mornings, but prospects just no show a lot in the mornings, you probably don't want to keep early mornings as such a big part of your availability, right? So although you do have control, it's not like, hey, I'll pick exactly which hours every single time, and I'm going to be super, strict on it. These are the only hours I'm willing to work, right? But again, just depends on the offer. Now, as an appointment setter, you do have a little bit more freedom in a sense where you can. Most business owners just care if you hit projections. I mean, even if you're a closer, you hit projections, you hit projections. But most business owners are like, hey, I want you to set 3 appointments a day or 5 appointments a day, whatever that number is. If you set 3 qualified appointments per day, I don't care when you dial. If you dial more in the morning, dial more in the evening, as long as you hit your numbers consistently or exceed your numbers consistently, do it how you want, when you want, whatever. When it gets a little bit more strict is if you're not hitting your numbers, you're not doing well. They start to look into, okay, when are you dialing? How are you dialing? How often are you dialing? And then it's like, okay, well, I mean, you're not doing right times or the numbers or whatever, right? But typically, if you're hitting your numbers, you're fine. But that being said, it still comes down to the prospects, because prospects are available at certain times depending on the type of offer. Again, B2B, and again, it comes down to the prospects, comes down to the types of offers, comes down to if it's B2B or B2C. If you have B2C and all of your prospects are only available in the afternoon, evening, usually you don't pick up the phone between 9 to 5 because they're at work all day, and you're trying to dial and you only want to dial between 9 to 5 and you struggle because of that, then that's, you're going to have to make some adjustments. You're going to have to make some changes. Again, there's always people that pick up all times of the day. So like, this isn't like something to be super meticulous about. I've seen people, again, you'll see, it's not something to be super meticulous about, but it does adjust a little bit. The most important aspect as an appointment setter, honestly, is speed to lead. You want to be able to call leads as they come in within 5 minutes or so. That's the most important aspect of it. If a lead comes in, you don't want to let the lead sit for a day, 2 days, 5, 6, 7 hours, and then you pick up the phone and call it because you just didn't feel like calling until that time. At the end of the day, leads are coming in all day, every day. You want to be able to call them, within your time, but call the freshest leads the quickest. So whenever you guys get the majority of their leads is when you want to be dialing. So again, although you can choose when you're dialing, the prospects determine a lot of this stuff. The prospects determine at the end of the day. It's not a completely set your own schedule, work when and how you want and all that. You still have to adhere to certain times depending on when your prospects are available, when your prospects are opting in, all of those things. Now, if you enjoy the idea of just, I guess, hustle as an appointment setter, if you're like, hey, I just want to dial, if you think the idea of dialing 50 to 100 people, 200 people every single day, probably only speaking to about 20 to 30 people, 20 to 50 people, having real like long conversations with about 10 to 20 people a day. If the idea of that kind of lifestyle where you're just, you got your headset on and it's dialing next, and you're dialing again 100, 200 people a day. If you think you would hate that, having quick conversations with people onto the next one, then you probably don't want to be an appointment setter. If you're like, hey, yeah, I'm fine with that. Don't have to really close anyone, just having a bunch of conversations, just calling next one, can kind of take a break whenever I want, come back whenever I want. Again, within reason, if you just don't work, then you just don't get paid and you don't stay on the team, right? But within reason, more control in terms of timing, lifestyle, that kind of thing, in a sense, then that would be the role for you. As a closer, a little bit more rigid in terms of, these are when the calls are booked in. You have to show up at these specific hours. It's booked in your calendar, so you can't just leave whenever you want. Like, yeah, you can set your lunch time whenever you want in the day, but again, if you enjoy structure, and you can have structure with either role, but if you enjoy structure, taking booked in calls, you don't like the idea of just dialing a bunch, you want to have a set amount of calls every single day, and have those conversations, those tougher conversations, those longer conversations with people. Again, you can't be afraid of confrontation. You can't be afraid to challenge people. If you enjoy that, you can't be afraid to go deep with people and really learn about people. Then you might like the closer role a little bit better. Pros and cons to both. It really comes down to the type of lifestyle you'd enjoy. You might feel a little bit more in control as an appointment setter because usually there's just thousands of leads to call and you could always just pick up the phone and call more, right? If you want to make more commission as an appointment setter, call more people, right? It's like the math is just there. You just do the math. I make this much commission on average for this many dials. I want to double it. I'll double the outputs first, and then the skill will come along with that as well. But the math is really simple to earning more commissions as an appointment setter. As a closer, it's a little bit more tricky because, okay, you only have a certain amount of calls being booked, but that's when you're like, okay, I can be proactive and take on some appointment setter aspects in order to fill my calendar more. So, as a closer, if you're with a great team that just keeps the calendar stacked all the time, great. If not, and you got to do some of your own dialing, that's fine too. But again, you just see which roles you enjoy better for different lifestyle. Any more and I'll be rambling. Just wanted to give a quick breakdown on the difference between those two different roles. There's other roles within them and other different styles of working that we'll probably talk about in other videos. But hopefully for those of you that are like looking into this for the first time, this makes sense and you understand, okay, these are the differences between these two roles. If you want more help with getting started in remote sales, we have a community that you can join. We do a free call every single Monday. Click the link down below. And if you're looking for your first remote sales role, jump on RepSelect. It's our software platform. We post new vetted sales opportunities every single day. It is a subscription to jump on because we're vetting opportunities for you. We're going through it. We're sourcing opportunities for you. And we're making sure that you have nothing but quality right there for you. So jump on, land your first role. I'll see you guys in the next video.